that unhinged marketing, I thought it was so cool, especially the Duolingo. They just
Yeah.
seem to have, they've had that locked down.
Yes.
And here's a little behind the scenes information that our listeners might not know. Our dear producer, Ryan Dinger, is a Duolingo megastar. What is your streak up to now?
It's up to 2,395 days in a row as of today.
In a row.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
I
is
started back in
wild.
2018. I haven't learned a thing. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But yes, Duolingo, I have not been a victim of the unhinged marketing because I am a loyal user. But we've done a lot of case studies on stuff that they've done, individual campaigns. And one that stood out to me as we were going through that segment, they did, I believe it was in Brazil a few years ago, where they were able to track down users who had lapsed on their streaks and get in touch with their friends and families and sort of determine where these people were living. I may be getting some of these details wrong, but this is the basic idea.
Right.
Where these people were living and actually show up at their residences and project the Duolingo owl on a building, like outside of their window, like telling them, like, it's time to do your lesson. Like, why are you ignoring Duo? Like to me, like that's stalker level.
That is
marketing. And when you talk
hilarious.
about unhinged marketing,
Yeah.
this is what we're talking about, right? We're
Yes.
finding out where you live and we're coming to you and being like, why aren't you doing your lessons anymore?
Yeah.
It actually won a couple A&A awards.
That is incredible. And you know what? A great lesson. If you're going to do unhinged marketing, go all the way.
Yes.
Wile E. Coyote off the cliff and not even realizing it all the way. Don't halfway absurdity.
100%. How about you, Mike? Is there any examples of unhinged marketing that come to mind for you that you particularly liked?
There's really one on the top of my Mount Olympus of unhinged marketing, activations, ads, campaigns, whatever. And I'm going to be dating myself right now, but it's cool because I'm a great conversationalist. But seriously, God, it has to be 10, 11, maybe longer years ago. We all know the iconic Skittles campaign, Blank the Rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
There was one ad where a gentleman, everything he touched turned to Skittles.
Yes, I remember this ad very well.
And it could have been like a really just, a sight gag. It was a funny sight gag. But it turned into this incredibly existentially deep and kind of dark situation.
Yeah. If I recall correctly, he's working in an office and fellow employees come up to him and they're like, look at this amazing trick he can do. And he gets into oh yeah, you think it's a trick, but it's actually a curse. And he starts going through the examples. And one that he brings up is, I met a man on the bus today. I went to shake his hand. And now he'll never see his wife and kids again. Where it's just
did you feed and dress yourself this morning? I didn't.
And the way that it ends, where his phone rings on his desk, and he's the employees who his coworkers who he's talking to. He says, "Excuse me for a second." He goes to touch the phone. It turns to Skittles, and in a fit of frustration, he bangs his hands down the desk. The desk becomes Skittles and just collapses in front of him.
Oh my god!
I mean, the fact that we're still talking about that ad, that was at least 10 years ago.
Yes.
And I mean, if you can do that and have people talking about your stuff 10 years later, you're winning. That's brand recognition, no matter how you want to spin it.